Hurricane, a tidal wave, essence perfect, life looks radiance, give me more of this. I'm out of control, about to blow, and I've been caught in the undertow. So toxic, but I can't get enough. You're burying me, yeah, you're burying me, You've got me hypnotized, push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. Whoa, I can see, I can hear, going crazy by the light. It's got me hypnotized. You've got me hypnotized. Get you out of my hand.
And boom, just like that, it's Thursday night, and you know what that means. It's party time with the Video Bros. I'm Bobby Munson, and the man beside me, come on, people, you know this by now. It's the man with the angelic voice, Papa Smokes. Papa Smokes, happy Thursday. How are you doing, brother?
Woo! Happy Thursday to you too, Munson. Happy to be here. Happy that it's gently raining outside here in Saskatoon. It's been kind of a nice springtime. And what about springtime? What about late in June? We've got another big PPW show right on the horizon. Man, I'm pumped. I cannot wait.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. We got a party up in the house here already, Papa Smokes, as we're being joined by the natural Astrid Pizarro. Astrid, how are you doing? Thank you for joining us here on this Thursday night. We've got Basser in the house, who joined us here on Ring Respect Radio just last week. Basser, my brother, can't wait to see you on Saturday. Thanks for joining us. And, of course, it's just not a PPW show without this man right here. It's El Asesino's biggest supporter across the globe. It's Brian Carter up in the house, wishing us a happy early Canada Day. Well, thank you, Brian. Of course, that is right around the corner for us, and nothing says Canada Day like spending your long weekend with Prairie Pro Wrestling, because live this Saturday, June the 29th, live in Saskatoon. Yes, it's going to be a great one. It's the Great Canadian Rager, eh? Great title, wonderful title. We're always coming up with the most ridiculous of titles here for the month of June, because why not? Indie wrestling, right?
I hope you're ring announcing for this one, Munson, because I've got to hear you say that one with the gusto you always give it.
Yeah, well, I mean, that would be the dream. But yes, I believe that J.G. Muller is back to his full-time post for the time being. And I'm back to full-time on the camera there with you, my friend. So it's going to be you and I back to the good old Video Bros. Once again, down at ringside, capturing all the action, whether it be singles matches, whether it be tag team matches. That is going to be, across the board. We're still looking for tag team champions come October in the big show, Ring of Horrors 3. So what we've seen, and you and I have seen a little bit more for those of you who have not seen it on YouTube, the tag team matches are starting to roll along now. We've got a lot of them coming your way. We just called another one tonight here, Papa Smokes. Short Kings versus El Asesino, Zoe Sager. Man, after calling that matchup here tonight, Zoe Sager and El Asesino, people better watch out. There's some sort of connection we might not have thought about before here. There seems to be this partnership, this evil partnership that's brewing between these two. They looked like a hell of a team there in that matchup.
Yeah, you're right, Munson, and I wish I had the inside scoop on this, but this time I don't. But you're absolutely right. Even against a very set team like the Short Kings, very, very strong team and have teamed together for a long time. Assassino and Sager looked like a well-oiled machine themselves. And it kind of begs the question, what kind of meetings or conversations have they had behind the scenes and what's going on with those two? I think that's a dark horse pick in this tag team sweepstakes months and leading up to Halloween time. Don't look past Sager and Assassino.
Well, exactly. And as Bass are mentioning, she's the only person I've seen him high five. Not only that, Bass, but guess what? In the footage that we have, as we were calling this matchup here tonight, not only is the high five prevalent, but at the end of the matchup, when Zoe was out and on the outside of the ring, El Assassino showed compassion. El Assassino returned, picked up Zoe Sager, and carried her to the back like he had an ounce of humanity inside of him. Papa Smokes, this is different from El Assassino, and I want your thoughts on that in just a moment. As we also say hello to another good friend of ours, it's
Yeah.
DJ. Say what up, boys.
All right.
DJ, thank you for joining us here on Ring Respect Radio, as always. And Brian mentioning El Assassino makes everyone and everything better. Brian, you and Papa Smokes might be the only cynical guys on the planet I know of that might think that statement is true. But Papa Smokes, your thoughts on, again, this ounce of humanity, this uncharacteristic version of El Assassino that we saw at the end of this tag team matchup?
Yeah, I'm torn in my thoughts about this, Munson. On the one hand, I'm so surprised to see him doing something human like that, like helping another person that needs help. This is completely alien to me when it comes to El Assassino. I have to think that he's got ulterior motives somehow. Number one way I could see it is that he sees something in Zoe Sager. He sees that maybe they could win this whole thing, so he's helping her. He's growing the bond between them so that they can win. On the other hand, the cynical part of me says it's a ruse, it's a trick of some kind, and we're all falling for it. I don't know. I think it's one of those two possible scenarios, but one should never trust the Mexican devil very far because he'll get you.
He sure will. Brian Carter, I think he's throwing shade my way here by saying humanity. How dare you insult the Mexican devil like that? Astrid saying, does that compassion come with a different name? Well, there's many different names that we call El Assassino. I don't know if the compassion changes those to much varying degree. I mean, we might put a polite slogan in front of it before we call him the many hundreds of thousands nasty names that the PPW Nation have so politely made up for El Assassino over the last little while. Again, we see a lot of people in the company get a lot of heat, Papa Smokes, but nothing the level of El Assassino. This guy gets heat when he walks outside his front door of his house. I'm certain of it.
Yeah, absolutely right. I think there's a reason for the mask. But another thing is that, just like you said, the fans, I want to say they love to hate him, but I don't even think it's that. I think they hate hating him. It's gone from the beginning of PPW. He was disliked. He was disdained. A few other words. Oh man, over this past 2 years, it's out and out hate. You can feel it from the crowd. It's got a greasy, awful feeling in the air when they shout those terrible names to him. But he also radiates it right back, of course, right? He's coming out to the ring with a chair. He's interfering in people's matches. He's doing some heinous acts as well. So the heat reverberates back and forth. Yeah, I'm sure you felt it, Munson. It's palpable at ringside sometimes. Oh, wow. What a crazy feeling.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. And we could go on and on all night about this tag team, about what we saw, about the maybe shred of compassion that we saw coming out of Assassino. But what I want to talk about is their opponents, because their opponents are two guys who I know the PPW Nation believes could be the first ever tag champs, would love to see them in that matchup. And might be very divisive here too, because I'm going to throw two teams at you. The two that are favorites among the PPW Nation, obviously the Short Kings, who took on El Asesino and Zoe Sager, but also the Clandestine Society. We know the PPW Nation loves the Clandestine Society. They love the hell out of Stephen Crow, the Rhinestone Cowboy. Where does it go? Will we see only two teams participating in this tag title match? You and I don't even know from the management side what to expect. Are we getting a 2 versus 2 tag match? Is this going to be 3 or 4 teams because we've got that many at the top of their game? We don't know yet, Papa Smokes, but what are you anticipating if it did come down to these two fan favorites here? What do you think the side of the PPW Nation would lean towards?
Oh man, that's a pretty tough one, Munson. And like you say, we can't say for sure what the format's going to be by the end of October because some of these teams will have caught the eye of PPW management and impressed them to a certain extent. So does that mean we are only going to have 2 teams in a match? Does it mean we're going to have a little mini tournament? Do they want to see more? We don't know how this is going to go down. But if you're going to ask about those teams specifically, ooh, that is a tough one. I almost think that the PPW Nation might edge slightly towards the Clandestine Society simply because they've been there for longer because of the popularity of Michael Richard Blaze. And then since he's brought his cowboy into PPW, very, very popular as well. But I don't know. The Short Kings, they've got something there. They've got that chemistry together. They're like twins. They're like one and the same guy, kind of in a way. That's the way they work as a tag team. So this would be a fantastic match. I could hardly pick a winner. I'd just like to watch it. But is that what you're thinking, Munson? It might come down to those two?
Not necessarily that. I'm curious in terms of the two fan favorites among the PPW Nation. Clearly, they're the two that the nation would love to see in that matchup because they love them so much. They've grown very fond of the Short Kings. As you said, they made that instant connection to the Clandestine Society upon their arrival because, again, Michael Richard Blaze brings a history of professional wrestling here in Saskatoon, was able to bring the Rhinestone Cowboy, who the PPW Nation instantly connected with, and now with the addition of TFA joining the Clandestine Society at the last show as well, too, showing her support to them. Again, this is a group that people are getting behind. But on the other side of the fence, when we go to the side of the ones that the fans don't like, but we know could be in contention for this as well, too. First, I'm going to mention the Brotherhood, and we don't know which formation of the Brotherhood. It could be Bucky and Dixie. It could be Dixie and Jacob Creed. It could be Creed and Bucky. We're not sure. We're really utilizing the free man rule when it comes to which formation of the Brotherhood that we get. Now, that also said, we've got another team that made a debut just recently, not only on our YouTube channel, but at the last show as well, too. The team of Sheik, Akbar, Shabaz, and Barack Arani. And I'm telling you, Papa Smokes, the PPW Nation is talking. That finishing move from Barat and Sheik, Akbar, Shabaz has all the buzz going for it right now. Everybody on YouTube talking about it. That finisher that is known as Murder is making its rounds, and people are really hooked on this.
Well, that's an extremely fitting name for their finishing maneuver because that looks exactly like what it does to the recipient. And we saw who took that last time. It was Galaban and Tyler that fought a valiant match against Shabaz and Bharat Gorani. But my word, they've come out of this whole tag team scene looking extremely strong. And if you look at a tag team like that on paper, just for a moment to look at size, experience, strength, in-ring ability, all that kind of stuff, these guys would score right at the top of all those tag teams too. So again, we talked about a dark horse team coming through. This could be one of those dark horse teams too. And if we're talking about the show this weekend, the Great Canadian Rager, this is going to be the last chance that these teams get to impress PPW management. So they've got to put on a good show. This is going late into the playoffs, so to speak. I've been watching a lot of hockey the past few weeks, so talking about a playoff run, you got to go deep. You got to win at the beginning, and you got to win in the middle, and you got to win at the end. All these teams are going to be looking to have big matches at this show coming up on the weekend. They've got to catch the eye of PPW management, and I think Paralira or Shabaz and Gorani are one of those that got a big win last time. They get a big win on Saturday night this week coming up, Munson. It's going to be wild.
But hold on here, Papa Smokes, because again, this is where they had to make that massive impact upon that debut as a team in PPW, because we know that due to contractual obligations, Sheik Akbar Shabaz was entitled to a rematch clause for the Prairie Pro Wrestling Championship. So himself and Barack Karani will not be participating in the tag team scene this time around. So their impact had to be that impactful to get the attention of the PPW Nation and management as well. So that's going to have to come into consideration, because on Saturday, we could be looking at the two-time champion, Sheik Akbar Shabaz. We're not too sure as we head into that main event that we're going to talk about here very shortly. Going back to what Brian said earlier, that he thinks the Clandestine Society is the established team while the Short Kings have the new sizzle. I would say that's a perfect explanation of the two teams in PPW. He's also saying no one can stop Sheik and Grotti. They were so damn impressive. Like I feel like we could have had a really excellent tag team match, Sheik and Garani versus one of the other established teams here in PPW this Saturday. But of course, that doesn't matter, because Sheik wants that title back that he lost to Cutthroat Colton Kelly in one of the most magical moments, not only in Prairie Pro Wrestling history, but in general in Saskatoon wrestling history. In terms of the independent scene here, I'd say one of the greatest moments we've ever had. But we could be looking at Sheiky 2 belts as something that's coming up here, Papa Smokes. There's no saying Sheik doesn't win the belt from Colton and then go on to that tag match at Ring of Horrors to become tag team champion along with Barack Karani. We could be looking at a very menacing Sheik Akbar Shabaz holding 2 pieces of gold. Can you imagine the size of the ego on that man if that occurs?
I'm glad you reminded me, Munson, because I forgot about the main event and all that. Yeah, we got to get to that at some point tonight, too. That's going to be absolutely wild. And talk about going deep into the playoffs. The Sheik's been the champion for 2 years until a few months ago when he was unseated by Colton Kelly in that incredible match at the Cosmos Center. So, my God, finally getting that rematch. And now Kelly's had a couple of defenses, too. He looks like he's a little more comfortable sitting on the throne as well. So Sheik's got an uphill battle again. He can't rely on the referee. He can't rely on his underhanded tactics quite so much in this, because he's got to win the championship, not just keep it.
Yeah, 100%. That's always been the advantage of Sheik while he was the champion. That is not going to be in his favor. So his strategy has to change completely. However, we're talking about the same guy who won that belt to begin with. So it's not outside the realm of possibility. Sheik is a very accomplished professional wrestler, and he is going to be a threat in that main event to Colton Kelly. It is going to be a wild show. That is the only match that I'm familiar with that is going to be on the card for sure. We can guarantee the tag matches are coming up because we're looking for filling those spots to Ring of Horrors 3. As much as I don't want to have to make this show all about him, he's got a lot of the story going in his way right now, Papa Smokes. Are we going to see anything further unfold between Michael Allen, Richard Clark, and El Assassino? Oh, pardon me. And is this leading to, once again, the Ring of Horrors, where last year we saw that most chaotic chairs match between El Assassino and Cannonball Kelly? And now he's seemingly doing the exact same actions to his opponents, to Michael Allen, Richard Clark, costing Clark matches. We know these two have had bad blood with each other since the day they crossed paths in a professional wrestling locker room. Will this unfold in the next show? Will we see more carnage? And do you expect anything for Ring of Horrors 3?
Well, and as we just noticed calling this match before our podcast, we know that Michael Allen, Richard Clark has now cost El Assassino a match that Assassino didn't want to lose as well. So it goes back and forth. For all the attacks that Assassino's done, Michael Allen has also interrupted his match, causing the distraction which led to a pinfall of Zoe Sager and their loss in that tag team match, despite a very good-looking first match of that tag team. But yeah, I like what you're suggesting here, Munson, because we remember some years back, El Assassino and Michael Allen Richard Clark had one hell of a street fight down in Regina for the previous company we used to work for. And oh, were a lot of people talking about that match for a long time after that. It was awesome. It was skilled, but it was brutal as living hell. And the fans better get ready. If this thing heats up too much, it's going to explode. And like you said, we might see a clash between Assassino and Clark, the likes of which we've never seen in Saskatoon.
Oh, you bet. And this has been boiling for a while in PPW. So we talk about the actions recently and everything like that, Papa Smokes, within the last, say, 6 to 8 months. But let's rewind a little bit further back before Michael Allen Richard Clark took a little bit of a leave from PPW to head on down to the Nightmare Factory to train alongside all the people at the Nightmare Factory. Prior to that, we had this already kind of starting out. There was the battle royal that happened, to name a new number one contender, that caused these two to cost each other inside of that to make their way towards the championship. And then a couple more times where they cost each other and got in each other's faces and had a brawl that had to be pulled apart. So this is not anything brand new. This is something, and again, like you said, boils back to previous companies, has now spilled into PPW, and upon Michael Allen's return, has now continued once again. As Brian Carter's saying, and again, I don't like the actions of El Assassino, but I'll agree with you, Brian. Mark is playing with fire, and he is very accomplished. He is not ever going to back down from a fight. You can see that. You know that he went to hell and back again with Jacob Creed in the early days of Prairie Pro Wrestling in that street fight. And let me tell you, as devilish as El Assassino can be, when Michael Allen Richard Clark turns on that light switch, that switch that takes him to a whole different place, we saw a different version of Michael Allen Richard Clark unfold when he had that fight with Jacob Creed, Papa Smokes.
Yeah, you're totally right about that, Munson. And I question whether Mark can go as deep and as dark as Assassino. You're totally right in bringing up the clash with Jacob Creed. The kind of street fight, barroom brawl, country bar, parking lot brawl kind of thing doesn't come so naturally to Michael Allen Richard Clark. He's a wrestler. He's an athlete. You know what I mean? He's got all kinds of effective holds and good professional wrestling moves. But guys like Assassino and the Cannonball and Jacob Creed, they know how to get down and fight, down and dirty, a real fight in a bar with closed fist punches thrown, kicks to the groin, all the rest of that stuff. So I wonder how this might go. But I have no doubt that Michael Allen will try and reach down for something down inside his soul, which will allow him to combat the Mexican Devil. It's just whether he can do it in time. And I mean, Munson, you know both these guys as well. They'll never get along. They're polar opposites as human beings, as people. They couldn't be more dissimilar. It's like an oil and water situation. So I can't ever see these two seeing eye to eye. And this is like a powder keg with a lit match sitting beside it. And we're going to see what happens, what reaction comes from this in the upcoming months, possibly even over the next year in PPW. Those two are going to go at it. Maybe they'll settle it once and for all at some point. Maybe not. Maybe it will never be over, Munson.
You just never know, but we always know the bad blood gets spilled at the Ring of Horrors. That's why we save it to the big show of the year. That is usually where everything goes chaotic. Everything is way over the top, and everything is a lot more difficult for us as videographers down at ringside there, Pop Spokes. I fear for putting myself back down into the fire when it comes to the Ring of Horrors. I got my break last year, and Bass took the leg beating of a lifetime there during that chairs match. But yes, it'll be my turn this time. And I don't know that I'm looking forward to seeing these two in a chairs match, a street fight, or whatever the hell they decide to go with, if they go with anything. We're uncertain at this time, but who knows where this could go. And like I said, Michael Allen, Richard Clark, he can turn it on. Remember, Jacob Creed was the fighter, but when he got that bull rope near the end and he gave the hangman to Jacob Creed over that top rope, Jacob Creed's face was turning blue, and the words coming out of Michael Allen's mouth were "just die already." Just die already, Papa Smokes. I mean, that is not the same Michael Allen, Richard Clark that is shaking hands and, you know, putting smiles on faces, signing autographs and stuff like that. That is a different man that exists once you cross that line. And I believe that El Assassino has started to cross that line, and we could end up seeing a complete and utter bloodbath between these two individuals.
Yeah, you make a good point, Munson. And just like last time against Jacob Creed, Michael Allen, Richard Clark, once he starts getting a few of those cheap shots and those fingers to the throat and the boot across the forehead, once he sees his own blood, Michael Allen, Richard Clark is like anybody else. He'll snap. He'll fight strong to survive. Will it be enough to beat the Mexican Devil? Only time will tell, but he's going to have to dig deep for it.
He sure will. So yeah, we will find out what happens at this next show this Saturday. What, you know, we keep skipping way ahead too. We do have another show coming up in August the 17th. We got that one more show as well too. So again, that's that next opportunity for the likes of Sheik and Barat to get into the tag action, for more to unfold between Michael Allen, Richard Clark, and El Assassino. We've got a world title. We've got tag team titles. We've got all sorts of things unfolding, brewing, and building to the biggest show of the year. But that title picture, Papa Smokes, that championship picture has been made very special. And it's been made special because of one massive, huge title change that we had in the company. I want to talk more about Colton Kelly, but I want to do so while we share with you, the fans watching live right now, the PPW championship match that changed the course of Prairie Pro Wrestling. I'm talking about the match between Cutthroat Colton Kelly and Sheik Akbar Shabaz. You ready for watching this one more time, Pop Smokes?
Oh, totally down, Munson. This is great.
All right, here we go. Load this up, and we will let's just skip right ahead to the actual match itself, or at least to the announcements anyway. We will go right here. I'm going to keep the audio off temporarily here. I don't want it playing during this time, so I don't want to have any copyright strikes here on OLE for any of the music that gets used. Usually we can get away with it. I seemingly can bring the levels down just enough on YouTube. The most weeks we don't have anything strike us on the Prairie Pro side of things. And maybe that, or we just talk so damn much, Papa Smokes, that YouTube can't even tell there's music going on in the background.
Yeah, maybe that's a good thing in this sense.
There you go. Yeah, Bass. Fuck yeah. Yeah, I agree, man. This match is magical. And I mean, I've watched this. So during the process of editing it, to sitting down to call this with you, Pop Smokes, rewatching it upon its release on YouTube, to right now, I still love watching this matchup. Everything about this matchup was completely magical. The moment, the crowd, nothing beat being there live, though. I mean, absolutely nothing beat being there in a live capacity with all of those fans witnessing this firsthand. That place was absolutely electric.
No, I can almost feel it right now. There's nothing replaces actually being there at the time, but just looking at the shots my camera is getting, like right now, I'm just feeling it. There's always that big fight feel for a championship match at PPW. It's funny because even our raucous crowd will kind of get a little bit quiet before a championship match sometimes. It's like almost a little anticipation, a little bit nervousness almost. And I felt nervous for Colton also. I knew this was a big match. Him and I had talked about it before. He had told me this is a big, big, big match for me, and I wanted the perfect outcome for this, and I couldn't have been pulling for him more. What a great entrance, and what a great shot he's got at a champion that stood tall for over 2 years.
You bet, yeah. And you saw just a moment ago, too, there was the sign that said hashtag we want Colton, and then also followed by hashtag finish the Sheik. that was there being held by our good friend and former guest on the show just recently, Papa Spokes. That was our good friend Boris McGuigan right there. Certain we're hopefully going to be seeing that chap out at the show this coming Saturday. He's been making great videos. People should go check out his work over on YouTube, on social media. Loved having him on the show here. What a great guy.
Yeah, same. Awesome guy to talk to. I'm loving the Sheik's entrance right now here, too. Just notice how his style has become even more flamboyant. Everything's gold lame at this point. He's got the crazy shades on. He's got that tie on like he's some kind of a down under or Chippendales dancer of some kind. He's such a wild guy, but so affluent and so wealthy too that he feels like he stands above the crowd. That's why he treats them with such disdain as he climbs into the ring here and for everything they've got to say to him, he's got something equally nasty to say back to them.
He really does. Yeah. Not taking any of the crap from the PPW Nation. Hey, Bass, I got to ask, where were you during this? Were you taking a bathroom break or were you grabbing another beer? What was going on there? I know you were in that crowd somewhere, my man, but where were you? We see Bass right there, front row, throwing those arms up in the air, cheering along. Can't see you right there, brother. I know you towards the end. I can hear you. When that 3 count goes, you can hear Bass in the background of this one. There we go. Yeah. I was standing by the beer, but I was too excited to sit. Well, everyone should have been too excited to sit during this match, man. This was phenomenal.
Yeah, I've been there just exactly like that, where you get up in a match to get something and then you just keep watching and it's like, oh geez, I don't even want to take my eyes off just to get back to my seat. I'm just gonna stand and watch the rest of this.
Oh, hell yeah. And I mean, of course, for you and I, Pop Spokes, we got to stand anyway because that's what we do for a good 3 hours there on PPW nights. We put in the work, we run around that ring, and we're on our feet for a good long period of time. And afterwards, we've earned those beers and those feel-good smokes of the night. All right.
There was one match on Devil's Night years ago.
This is massive. One of the biggest matches we have had the privilege to call in our career so far as commentators here in the room.
Oh, I'm just loving this commentary now. I got distracted listening to the commentary. Fantastic. We were both so pumped to do commentary for this one.
Oh, 100%. And like, I mean, start thinking about how many matches we've called over the years too, Papa Spokes, and to think that at this point in time we could get that excited about another match, you know. It was that good of a match. Not only that, but that great of an experience to be a part of and to be able to call. I mean, I added up there. It's easily, definitely top 3 for me of the matches we've ever called over our time.
Yeah, same. I think so. You and I had some big ones early in our commentary career. Whoa.
And then oh, sorry, Papa Smokes. I was going to say that was the kind of thing that Colton Kelly needed to be able to do in this matchup is get that quick start and make sure that the Sheik was off his game right away.
Absolutely.
Already on Green Street, just about. Colton Kelly's going to take quick advantage.
But yeah, it's the commentary for this was definitely good. Like even when I've heard it back, like I don't often like listening back to some of the work and stuff like that, just because, you know, it's the same old saying. Anybody out there that's a contributor to anything will know listening back to your own voice is probably one of the most haunting experiences you can ever stand. But this one, I went back and I was like, you know, I could feel the energy that you and I still had going into this, ready to call it and everything. This was a shining moment. I had so much fun calling.
Start weakening him, get him tired. Look at this. He's going to mount the ropes for an attack now.
There he goes. The agility of the big
man.
Look at him walking those ropes. Oh,
Whoa.
Shaky. Sneaky Sheiky.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
The Sheik looked like he was on his heels. A beautiful reversal there.
And again, anybody watching along, if you haven't done so already, Prairie Pro Wrestling over on YouTube. Check us out. Go and click subscribe. Hey, we're coming close to 1,000 subscribers over on YouTube for Prairie Pro, Papa Spokes. We are exactly 103 subscribers away from hitting that 1,000 mark, and then things start to really change for Prairie Pro Wrestling. So do what you can. Shout it at the top of the mountains. Let everybody know we only need 103 more subscribers and, you know, a touch more on the watchtowers, and we're going to be heading on our way to monetary status over there. But we're trying to do the same over here at our local establishment as well as on the Video Bros Network. So make sure that you subscribe to these channels as well too. Thumbs up, notification bells, and comment, people. Really smack talking the challenger at this point is the champion. There's that slow, methodical pace that Sheik likes to do. He really likes to inflict that pain upon his opponents.
And a lot of his attack is just classic, nothing fancy, but everything done perfectly and with maximum force. There's no substitute for having strong fundamentals. None of this is nice wrestling. Look at him. He's stomping on the ankle, stomping on the knee. But as long as the referee doesn't disqualify him, he's going to continue to do it. Now look at this, just right on the ankle.
At the same time, during this one, this is still a stage where I don't think Sheik cared if he got disqualified, because as long as he held on to the PPW championship, he was all well and good. Brian coming in saying, well, I thought I was chatting here and just texted my coworkers how much I like the Sheik and Ronnie Ted's finish. Fantastic. Yeah, it was a great finish there, Brian. I gotta get into that one and make a short out of that finish, because that was phenomenal. I think that would become a very well-watched clip here for Prairie Pro Wrestling. So I'm gonna have to make that one for us. But I'll probably be doing that after Saturday. I'm going to tell you that much, because, oh man, am I going to be tired come Sunday morning, Papa Smokes.
And here's one of those cameraman moments. Hey, Munson, you're all over it. Right up there. That you get such a good look. Two faces, one in stress and agony, and the other one grimacing out towards the crowd. A classic wrestling shot.
Well, the guys always know where to look for me. It's, you know, whether the heels are looking for me so that they can show off their dastardly deeds, or the babyfacers are looking for me so that they can make sure that they get their message across to the PPW nation around the world. They always know, find Munson on that side of the ring. But you get those amazing shots too, coming down to the ring, Pop Smokes, and sometimes a lot of those holds that the guys do to end up facing your side of the ring. I mean, the combination, like when I used to run the camera by myself in HIW, I was doing laps around that damn ring all night, because I had to follow where those faces were. At least having you there, we can equal this out, and it's not as much of the running around trying to get the best shot. I know I can rely on you when the guys are faced the other way for the entrances and stuff like that. We've got, you know, in between us, we've learned where the other one is. We've learned where the direction is that each of the wrestlers chooses to go during their entrance, so we know what side to be on for the filming purposes. It works out fantastically.
Yeah, it does. And just the fact that we're both pretty comfortable with each side we do. Now, I probably won't be so comfortable when the Battle Royal is coming up, because my side sees a lot of action over there. And there are large, sweaty men flying over the ropes towards me the entire goddamn time. But I wouldn't trade it for anything, because at least I get to be in there filming the wrestling just like I've always loved. So yeah, let's do it.
Well, I mean, you get a lot of that action over on that side of the ring there, Papa Smokes, but I'm telling you, I'm still not over the fact that a couple of years ago at the very first gimmick battle royal that we had for PPW, one very demonic Kane came up and grabbed a hold of my $1 million throat there and caused some very horrible damage to my vocal cords there for a temporary period of time.
I remember, Bob. I remember your injury was about as legitimate as that cane was.
As legitimate as a Cody Khan neck brace.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mind you, I got one of those kicking around here too. It's just over to the left of me, so you know, you never know. You never know if Bobby's ever telling the truth. You know how many people have come and asked about whether or not some of the shit I do is kayfabed or not, Papa Smokes? It's kind of a nice feeling.
Yeah. Here's one of those moments too where I'm hiding beside the table here because I don't want any part of these two smashing stuff right in front of me like this.
You know how many times I've heard the words "move Munson" or "get the fuck out of the way" kind of thing while I'm
Yeah,
down at ringside.
yeah,
Papa Smokes is very
yeah.
common as a videographer for ringside.
Oh yeah, I've heard all those things many times myself too. Move is the common one.
Yeah.
Highly questionable in professional wrestling.
There's only one thing you do at that point in time. You find a bit of space and you get the fuck out of the way. Oh, there's that table. I mean, can you imagine? It's a good thing the PPW does some decent beer sales and stuff like that, because I think it's the only way we keep affording these tables the boys keep busting up every show.
Yeah. And here's me hiding behind JG Muller again while this table gets set up.
Hey, JG Muller's a total badass. He's got your back there, Papa Smokes. You're good to go.
Yeah, I want him in front of me just in case.
You push ref Jason a little further ahead too. That would help.
Yeah, yeah.
Wrestlers are going to handle it.
There we go.
That, Colton Kelly up to his feet, delivering some clubbing forearms.
And then there's the part about being a part of that live experience. You're never too far away from the action, no matter where you are in this building. I mean, that's the best part about a nice intimate setting like this, where we can only afford to have a few hundred people or whatever it is, just over 300, pack that place, and it's electric as a result. It'd be nice if we could get more. It'd be nice if the venue was just slightly bigger so we could fit in the other 100 or so that tend to not be able to come in because they don't buy the tickets in time. It's an unfortunate thing, and being in Saskatoon here, we've said it many times, Papa Spokes, there's just nothing out there. There's nothing that will fit the size of our ring, or they won't allow booze sales or whatever it is. There's many reasons why we aren't even able to move to another building. But we also do love the Cosmos Center. We love the location, and we just really enjoy the experience of being there.
Well, and part of it is they love us too, right? It's good to have a landlord that you're popular with, because they're perfectly fine holding the wrestling there. They love the fans. We're respectful. We don't make a huge mess, and we clean up everything. And the general manager of the venue is a fan and all that stuff. It's perfect. It works out perfect.
In fact, general manager of the venue happens to be on staff with PPW, so that also helps. But
yeah, that helps.
But I mean, there's always those discussions. Again, it would be great to be able to have something a little bit bigger to facilitate more people, but again, it's very difficult because our ring isn't the standard size of a regular independent ring either, for that matter. And that's where we run into some issues as well. Our ring is closer to regulation size of what you would see when it comes to television style. We're not quite there. We're still a little bit off of what you would see in an AEW or a WWE ring, but we are larger than most independent sized rings. And that's what prevents us from being able to fit this thing inside of most arenas as well too.
And we've sort of knocked the idea around before, months of I think it would be quite excellent to have a large card once a year at a larger venue. And the one I'm thinking of always is that Sutherland Curling Center.
Mm-hmm.
Put it right in the middle of the ice, so to speak, or the ice surface. There's a lot of room in that place. That would work out perfectly. I don't think we should run there all the time because it's too big. But for a once-a-year show where we could put on a big banger of a show, a Mania-type show, that would be awesome.
It would be incredible. And, I've done some thinking on that too, Pop Smokes. A part of me also would love to do it where the Friday night before that big show that we actually could host a bunch of bands or something like that, where we could actually have a musical performance at the Sutherland Curling Club the night before, so that people could actually buy a weekend pass, get the full experience. You come to the rock show, next day you go to the PPW show. I have a connection with a lot of different musicians, different bands here in Saskatoon. I'm sure you do as well too, with the line of work that you're in. I think easily we could put together a really solid card of musical acts the night before a PPW show and get all those fans that come to that, plus fans that maybe aren't so much into wrestling but are into music, come to the music show and then might still be convinced afterwards, well, I love this crowd, why don't I just go check out this wrestling show the next night too? And we'd end up seeing a lot of new faces that we hadn't seen before.
Yeah, it's a fine idea. Anytime you can cross promotion or cross promote two different styles of entertainment, you run the chance of turning, you're flipping your audiences. One, the audience for one gets into the other thing, and vice versa. That could be quite an interesting idea.
Yeah, and I mean, again, like I said, the connections to music here in Saskatoon are endless. A lot of musicians that come to the shows. I mean, a big shout out to my friends over in Chainfire. We're going to be working on a new music video for their next upcoming single coming out later this year, here soon. Also to an old friend of mine, somebody who used to be in a band with me, Kalen, who I just started re-talking to, reconnecting with, who happens to come to PPW shows. I just didn't notice him at them before. Still creates music here in the city. You can go check out June Thrasher on YouTube right now. He's got a song up there as well. Not a heavy metal or a rock song like you'd normally hear from me, but definitely something worth checking out. Very experimental, almost kind of like that Stranger Things type 80s synth type music. Very fantastic. He's going to be again here this Saturday at the show, and he was someone who also mentioned to me that it'd be great to do that cross promotion of having musicians plus then doing a PPW show the night after.
Very interesting. We'll have to think about this further.
It is extremely difficult, if not impossible.
Now deep into this matchup again, you know the PPW Nation. A part of them was sensing it. They believed in Colton Kelly, but a part of them knows just how many times that they believed in someone here in PPW, only to have their hearts ripped out because of the antics of the Sheik. And when you see things like that, you start to get a little worried. You start to panic. Like, again, is Sheik going to get away with the same old crap that he gets away with every single time, managing to keep him in as the champion? And this is exactly what I mean right here. His hand on the official with a choke slam. You can hear the groans from the PPW Nation at this point. They are hurting, knowing that once again, Akbar has gone ahead and taken out the official.
And once the official's down and not seeing what's going on in the ring, you know what Sheik's going to get up to. And oh boy,
this never gets easier to watch right here. God damn.
Oh
my God. Oh my God.
Oh, Papa Smokes. I don't care where you are, whether you're watching this for the 16th time or whether you were watching it there live. That hurts to see that happen.
Colton Kelly flat on his back onto that.
Absolutely. That's probably not the landing anybody was hoping for, especially now Kelly. And oh, he's not moving too much down there. Sheik's thinking, all right, I got this. All I got to do is throw his carcass in the ring somehow and wake up this lazy ref that's laying face down in the ring.
Lazy ref. That's funny.
Well, look at him. He's laying down during the match.
Having a little nap, a little sabbatical, taking some time off.
Disgusting.
Like you said, there he goes, dumping Colton Kelly into the ring. Looks like, yeah, I think Sheik there now signaling that he wants a different official in the ring. And again, that's what the champ wants, and typically the champ gets what he gets. Well, gonna try to wake up the sleeping referee, as you call him there, Papa Smokes.
Yeah, not much movement from him.
Ref Jason coming out. But not enough. Colton Kelly wanted that belt, and he wasn't going to have it, Papa Smokes, in the nick of time. He saves himself here.
Wow. I can't believe this. The Sheik can't believe it. He's going absolutely insane.
Sheiky was mad. He was one mad boy. There you go. Clothesline to Ref Jason taking him out, too.
Yeah, little grumpy.
There we go. Dumping Ref Jason out of the ring.
Not very nicely either.
No, not at all. Poor Jason get up pretty bad, but there it is.
Oh, love that pile driver.
And look at that right out of nowhere. The ref wakes up finally for that 3 count.
Oh. Whoa. You and I did the same. You and I did the same thing with our cameras at this moment, and we just turned and showed the fans. What an eruption!
Oh, big time, Papa Smokes. I mean, the people loved it. I loved being there. What an experience! And again, hearing Colton Kelly's promo after, which I mean, we're gonna stop right there for you guys. But afterwards, there's that promo from Colton Kelly that he delivers saying he has never won a main championship like that. They never won a singles championship in that form, the main title in that sort of fashion in his entire career. And that was a big moment for him. It was a big, changing moment. And we're going to get to see him go back into it with the Sheik here. Maybe this time Sheik doesn't have that advantage of being able to walk away if he gets disqualified. So he's going to have to watch his actions around the officials in this particular matchup with Colton Kelly. Champ did great defending against Jacob Creed last time out. And I believe that we're going to see another great matchup here on this night. These two never disappoint. This will be the third time that these two have locked up in singles competition. Never a dull moment.
Absolutely. And like we talked about during the match, the Sheik can't do his defensive struggle like he always does. He's the kind of champion like various famous champions from the past, like a Nick Bockwinkel or something. It's not that he comes out and knocks you out and makes you submit with a whole bunch of holds. It's that you can't pin him. You just can't pin him no matter what you do. That's what the Sheik did for those whole 2 years there. He was in Colton's head for sure. But now the tables have turned. Now Colton is in that position. We know that Colton Kelly's probably not going to use the same underhanded tactics like the Sheik, abusing the refs, getting himself disqualified, all kinds of nasty stuff like that. Colton's not going to stoop to that level, but still, the advantage is with the champion. If it gets wild and there are disqualifications or any kind of a no contest handed out, Kelly's good. He'll hold on to the belt. Now the Sheik can taste that frustration that he made everybody swallow over his entire title reign.
Yep. And quickly, see you Saturday as well too, Bass. Thanks for joining us here tonight. We can't wait to see you Saturday night, brother. It's gonna be a hell of a time. But yeah, it's gonna be one hell of a main event there, Papa Smokes. We know that the other matches are not gonna disappoint. We got so much awesome stuff going on, and of course, interacting with my favorite people on the planet, the PPW Nation. I can't wait. Been able to kind of start interacting with them a little bit as we've been running this new electronic ticket system for the reserve seating. I will mention that the reserve seating, I think, is pretty much sold out, if not completely sold out at this point in time. The seating chart has been handed in. Tickets have been handed out. People are excited. It's going to be electric there. We're going to have a busy crowd. You can still get general admission tickets. They are available at Hunter's Bowl, as well as Glitch Gifts and Novelties here in Saskatoon. Pick those up. Those are the $15 tickets. General admission does not guarantee you a seat. In fact, I can pretty much tell you won't get you a seat. General admission will be standing room only. And for those of you who think that you can wait until the last minute, you can wait till the day of to decide to come to the show. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm not saying you won't get in by waiting until the last minute, but I'm saying it's a silly mistake to wait until the last damn minute, because you don't want to be one of the ones who gets turned away from a night of professional wrestling. So make sure you head on over to Hunter's Bowl or Glitch Gifts here in Saskatoon, or reach out to Prairie Pro Wrestling on Facebook today to get your general admission tickets for the show. That will promise you your way in at a $15 rate. The reserve tickets, if there's any left, and I'm pretty sure there isn't, they were at $30 each. Those went very quickly, Papa Smokes. A very popular hot ticket. Who would have thought? We always said it was a hot ticket at $15 to get in, but people, the fans especially, are willing to pay double that to be able to experience it while being able to get that reserved seating here with us.
Well, and just with the crowds that we've been drawing over the time of PPW, it seems like it's become a hotter ticket because of its rarity, and people didn't want to take the chance of not getting in, or us reaching our capacity and not being able to let everybody in. Therefore, reserved seating coming up. A lot of people want to sit together but can't get seats together. It's been a whole journey, but thanks to you and PPW management, we've got the new system going now. Thanks for your hard work on that, Munson. We're going to see that come to fruition on Saturday, and I'm just completely excited. You remember we've talked about one of my favorite things about going to the live wrestling show, including PPW, is that smell, Munson. That smell in the air. Stale cigarettes, freshly opened beer cans, sweaty, human beings all cramped together into a room. Chef's kiss is just, that's what I love.
It might sound very repulsive to some, but until you've lived it, you just don't understand the joy of that entire smell that Papa Smokes described. So yeah, it's gonna be a hell of a time. I can't wait, Papa Smokes. But yeah, that is pretty much our preview show for the Great Canadian Rager A. So if you want to be able to check it out, come check us out live this coming Saturday, or else wait your turn over on the YouTube side where you can subscribe to Prairie Pro Wrestling and follow along every Saturday with myself and Papa Smokes. Quick announcement before we get to the final portion of our goodbyes here. We've made a little bit of a decision here at our local establishment because Twitch has kind of been being a little bit of a bastard lately. Yeah, Twitch, you play a whole lot of ads that we didn't necessarily need. In fact, I believe Ed said last night on Marvel Talk in the first 20 minutes, there was a combination of about 6 or 7 minutes of ads ran during the show in the first 20 minutes that he was streaming Marvel Talk last night. That is uncalled for. We had to lessen the amount, which means less revenue coming in on the Twitch side because they've gone ahead and started adding that much more to the advertising, and they've lessened the amount of the payouts to streamers. So we are going to be kind of reducing the amount of shows on Twitch over the next month. You have got about a month. If you watch us from the Twitch side of things, start transitioning over to YouTube and following along on the YouTube side where you're going to be able to get all of our content in a live capacity. Certain shows will still appear here on Twitch as well too, but our bigger focus is going to be pushing YouTube, pushing the watch hours on YouTube, and making sure we kind of transition over to there. I know this is news to you yourself too, Papa Smokes, but we just kind of collectively noticed that the Twitch payouts got to be a lot less, and they are running way too much advertising, which is taking away the experience from people who are watching live. So we kind of made that decision. We're going to try to transition as much as we can over to a YouTube live setting. Twitch will still have the odd thing here and there. Might even still have some ring respect on Twitch and stuff moving forward. But please, if you can, transition over to YouTube, follow us over there where you're going to be able to do all that. And again, right down below, there's where you can find us, all social media. It's where you can find us on YouTube. So go create an account. It's easy. Click on Google, click sign in, make an account. As soon as you got a Google Gmail account, you have a YouTube account. Sign in. That's all you got to do. Then you can like, thumbs up, subscribe, all that shit that I talk way too much about every single stream. But with that being said, Papa Smokes, you're going to cost me an arm and a leg here with this, but there's your ticker down below. Let the people know where they can find you.
All right, everybody. Having said all that, I can be found in Elon Musk's free speech wonderland known as X. I am at smokes_papa. And in the soon-to-be obsolete Twitch, perhaps, I am at papa_smokes_.
There he is. Yes, not necessarily obsolete, but definitely heavily reduced. But where you can find me on the X, I'm at Real Bobby Munson. Instagram and Threads, we are at Video Bros SK. And on Twitch, I am at videobro_Bobby Munson. Again, we'll keep throwing some stuff up on the Twitches, even on my personal Twitch. I'll probably put some of my gaming stuff up on there for you guys. Keep that flow going. I'm not completely against Twitch. I just don't like the idea of running an obscene amount of ads and taking away from the live viewing experience for our people. So until the time where I can afford to hand out subs on Twitch to everybody so you can get past all those pesky ads, until that time, we're going to scale back. We're going to push the YouTube, see where we can take that for you. But from myself, from Papa Smokes, we thank you for joining us. And join us next Thursday where I'm sure we're going to be talking all about the results from Prairie Pro Wrestling presents the Great Canadian Rager A. See you in a week's time, everybody. Take care.